Thank you, DC Comics. Thank you for confirming that Common will never be John Stewart! Jesus! Today on Readus Reviews, I review Suicide Squad, the second movie to be released this year, the third movie in the DC Extended Universe. And here is the nitty-gritty. First of all, let me pull a Charles Dickens out my ass and say that Superman was dead to begin with. That's right, readers, this movie takes place a bit after Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, in which Doomsday is dead, Superman is dead-ish, and Bruce Wayne/Batman is currently on the lookout for the rest of the members of the Justice League. But while he's doing that, Amanda Waller, aka that one black vice principal that everybody fucking hates, is setting up a team of her own. A team of pretty dangerous humans and meta-humans that kind of fall on the chaotic neutral and the chaotic evil side of the D&D alignment scale, in the case there is ever, quote-unquote, another Superman that's not as intentional as the original. But when something does happen that will eventually become Hawkman's turf, Midway City, Amanda Waller calls on her team, codenamed Task Force X, led by Rick Flag, which was originally meant to be an escort mission. That rolled downhill really quickly. So with that, let's talk about the story. And as far as I'm concerned, the story was fine. It wasn't fucking groundbreaking, like I didn't sit in the movie theater and thought to myself, wow. This is the most epic and groundbreaking story I've ever seen. No, I can definitely tell that the movie had certain inspirations throughout. Of course, there are stories from the original Suicide Squad comic, and then I couldn't help but notice nods to the original Ghostbusters movie and Escape from New York, which in itself is a very interesting combination. Another element about the story that I liked was that it was magic centered. And given the fact that a lot of the superhero movies I've been watching so far have been really heavy in tech, sci-fi, and espionage, the inner fantasy geek in me was just glad to finally see magic on the screen. Which I think is a good segue regarding the actual villain of Suicide Squad. I won't give it away, but I was both surprised and not surprised at the same time. The not surprise comes from the semi-predictability, but surprised over how it happened and how it played out. I also thought that the story did a good job establishing itself within the DC Extended Universe, even with how different in tone it was compared to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. As a matter of fact, the cameos that happened in Suicide Squad were a lot better than Batman v Superman. And I actually enjoyed Batman v Superman. So what the fuck does that say? So with that said, let's talk about the characters and the actor portrayals that I thought stood out the best. Starting with Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. So let's just skip the metaphors, let's just skip the dad jokes, and let me just get right to it. She killed it. She fucking killed it as Amanda Waller. Whenever Amanda Waller was on screen, the combination of Viola's poise and her attitude and her no bullshitness made her the main focal point. Even when she's sharing the screen time with other high personality actors. Yes, I'm talking about Will Smith. She takes time and focus away from Will Smith. Will fucking Smith. The fuck they do that at? And then of course we have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and I think it's safe to say that we can classify her in that Hugh Jackman shit, in which case from here on out, you're just Harley Quinn now. You're no longer Margot Robbie, you're fucking Harley Quinn, because that was you. I saw you. I saw you. I like that they used the New 52 origin for Harley, but still based her personality off of the early episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Because given what the character goes through after the mad love story, I feel like this is the best way of interpreting her or introducing her into the DCEU. I'd have to say that after seeing her portrayal of the character, her solo movie that's eventually coming is very well deserved. I can't speak for all of you, but Harley fans won't be disappointed in her performance. And then there's Will Smith as Deadshot. And last but not least, there's... What? You wanted me to talk more about Will Smith as Deadshot? Why? You already know the deal of how I feel about Will Smith as Deadshot, because you probably feel the same way. It's Deadshot, portrayed by Will fucking Smith. Like, what else do you want me to say? That his portrayal was pretty spot on to what I've read in the comics? That his Will Smith-isms made me care about lesser characters because he interacted with them? That his improv game is the fleekest it's ever been since I've seen him start in blockbuster movies? You know all this already, so why should I even waste the time saying it? Even though I technically just said it. God damn it. And then we have Jared Leto as the Joker. Readers, I have been an advocate for Jared Leto playing the Joker since it was announced, and I was not disappointed, even though I knew I wasn't going to be. I did find it an interesting creative choice that visually he portrayed multiple variations of the Joker. There was a bit of Alex Ross, there was a bit of Grant Morrison, there was a bit of Scott Snyder, and there was a bit of Frank Miller. But as far as the performance was concerned regarding Joker's main personality, from what I've seen, he was more based off of Brian Azzarello's version in his graphic novel Joker. Which isn't a bad thing. I really enjoyed that graphic novel, so seeing that interpretation is pretty interesting. A lot of the visual changes that were made to the character weren't really taking away from his performance either. And the ones that were visually noticeable actually helped. But the one thing I kind of appreciated about how Joker was used in this movie was that he wasn't necessarily the main villain or like the focal point. He was mainly there to help establish Harley's origin and for her character development. Because it helped us focus on aspects of her that we needed to know, and his presence didn't take away from the overall plot of the story. Unfortunately, the proper use of characters over the course of this story was one of the main nitpicks I had, specifically with Katana and her lack of character development. As far as I'm concerned, there wasn't enough given to me about her character for me to want to care about her, despite me wanting to care about her. Like, yeah, we had a few flashbacks and time dedicated to her origin, but then compare the amount of character development Katana got with the amount of character development that El Diablo got over the course of the entire movie. Also, and this is just a personal nitpick from me, I feel that Killer Croc could have been less ghetto. Then again, like Jared Leto's portrayal, the portrayal of Killer Croc in this movie was more like Brian Azzarello's take of him on the Joker graphic novel. So all in all, I thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was a fun installment in the DCEU and thought it fit pretty nicely. So much that I would say that it's on par with Guardians of the Galaxy. As far as what I would pay to see it in theaters, probably stick to a matinee ticket. And if my OCD didn't limit me to only buying shared superhero universe movies on Blu-ray, I would get this on regular DVD. So readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comments section below if you've seen Suicide Squad or whether or not you liked it. And then after you're done with that, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Because that's totally a thing you can do and I don't want to limit your possibilities. Anyway, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.